Welcome to episode 2 of CPR for Pixels, where I surgically break down ad films. Today we're looking at another ad from the Facebook Thumbstopper series by Nirvana Films. Let's get started. The beauty of this ad is that it says everything it needs to with just one shot. It is one of the best examples of visual juxtapositions that I've seen. Now, for people who are not pretentious douchebags, what is juxtaposition? It means, and I quote, the act or instance of placing two or more things side by side, often to compare or contrast, to create an interesting effect. Basically, it means put two things side by side and a meaning is created through that comparison. Now that's out of the way, let's start with the framing. The guy is peeing in the background while the cute little dog is taking a piss in the foreground. And all of this is anchored by the placement of the car, which visually separates both subjects. And now here's something that I recently learned about the vertical format. Usually in a standard 16:9 aspect ratio, you use the close-up for details and the wide angle to establish geography. But in the vertical format, since the sides are cropped off, you can use a wide angle to focus on details instead of a close-up, since there is less area for visual distraction. Next, the sound design. As simple as this film seems on the surface, there is actually a whole lot of black belt level mastery going on in the background. Let me explain this with two sound design concepts: the diegetic sound and the non-diegetic sound. Diegetic sounds are those sounds that belong to the film world, whereas non-diegetic sounds are those that do not belong in the film world. For example, in Kill Bill, when Elle Driver enters the hospital to assassinate Beatrix Kiddo, she whistles the theme from the 1968 movie Twisted Nerve. This sound is diegetic because the character herself is making the sound and therefore belongs in the film world. But a few seconds later, you can hear that the actual theme from Twisted Nerve plays. Now there's no way that this music is blaring through the hospital speakers. It's just an expressionist stroke to ramp up the tension. That's non-diegetic. So why does any of this matter? It matters because wielding these tools with craft helps maximize the viewer's immersion. And the more immersed you can get someone into a piece of work, the more effect you have on them. Now that we've completed this film theory side quest, let's look at it in the context of our ad here. Listen to the horn that sounds when the dog pees on the car. If you pay close attention, what begins as the horn turns into music. But here's the kicker: the sound is actually background music throughout. How do I know that? Because if it was real, both the dog and the guy would have reacted to the sound. So why use this cue? Because we as the viewer are conditioned to think that the car horn blaring in this situation is natural, because that's exactly what happens in the real world when you bump into someone's car. And by playing with our preconceived notions through the sleight of hand, the filmmakers actually Trojan horse in the real reason for the sound cue: the supers on the screen. The supers are the payoff, and you need to give it a sort of superhero landing for it to arrive without drawing attention away from what's already happening in the scene. So you take a sound that would normally happen in the reality of the scene and then use it as a musical cue. Plus, by doing this, you jump cut the supers into the screen without having to fade it in or cutting to another shot, thereby saving you more time. Now that's some 4D chess mastery right there. Either that or I sound like this guy. And there you have it, the many little details that go into breathing life into a bunch of pixels. And that's it from me. Peace. I'm out.